Hi, and welcome to the presentation for Level 2 Studio Elements of Form and Space. I'll hand it over to our studio assistant, Ms. Shikha Mehta, who is going to introduce us, and then Professor Gaurang Shah is going to take over the studio presentation.
Professor Gaurang Shah is an industrial designer and a graduate from the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. He has specialized in product design and transportation design. He also did an advanced level course in product planning and design for sustainability in Germany. Here he worked at a design consultancy in Stuttgart where he was involved in the complete conceptualization and design for a three-wheeled automobile. Professor Shah was also a member of the Faculty of Industrial Design at the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, where he headed the product design department. For the first time in the modern design history of India, he pioneered and set up a specialized course, postgraduate as well as undergraduate in transportation design at NID and at MIT in Pune. He also single-handedly set up DJ Academy of Design in Coimbatore. He has over 10 years of industry work experience and has worked on innumerable industrial design and research related projects, such as for the defense, vehicles, consumer products, digital products, packaging, and so on. Professor Amal Shah has worked extensively on residential, healthcare, and retail projects as a freelance interior designer. He has taught at the Faculty of Design CEPT, primarily teaching studio, technology, and software based courses for 15 years. His interests relate to technologies of the built environment. He graduated from the School of Design CEPT University in 2005 and is currently pursuing a master's degree in interior architecture and design. As an academic at Faculty of Design CEPT, he has taught many studios and theory subjects. He has taught studios based on detailing, space planning, and more recently at master's level at Faculty of Design for the building products and systems stream as well. He has experience in guiding many research projects for graduating students for the interior design program. Shikha Mehta is a recent graduate from Faculty of Design, CEPT University. Her thesis study delved into the generation of novel tectonics through technology and production aspects. Her work experience includes residential, hospitality, and commercial spaces. In her academic work, she had focused on designing impactful spaces with an experience based approach.
Hello and welcome to our presentation on the forthcoming studio Elements of Form and Space. In this studio, it shall be our endeavor to introduce you to the fundamentals of form perception and manipulation. Form is a totality of sensorial experience. For every object, impression, phenomenon existing is a form in one way or the other. In terms of visual perception, every form has a surface or surfaces, that is, the outermost part of the form directly in contact with the space surrounding it. Every form is perceived by its surface, excluding transparent and translucent forms where the inner content of the form is also seen. In other words, this is the stage when one begins to understand the form. Other aspects then do follow in course of one's experience with the form. Learning to manipulate form for any designer about the visual language is an essential design skill. This is a course or studio which seeks to sensitize design learners towards perception, appreciation, and manipulation of form and articulation of form ideas. This course also seeks to provide learners with some fundamental tools to creatively influence a given form or forms or a shape to a desired objective. It becomes imperative for a learner towards expression of visualization of an idea. Like any other professional, a designer needs to have a basic toolkit of skills, both physical and cognitive, in order to execute a certain job with efficacy and competency. These are part of some of the overarching and broad skill base embedded in the DNA of any designer worth his or her salt. The first one, and I think this is the most important one, is that a designer must understand thoroughly the requirements of the products or services of the user and address this in functionality, usability, and the emotional content of the product. Secondly, in design, there is never a unique and only solution to a given problem. A designer must have the wherewithal and also humility to find more than one alternative to a given problem. Design is a very creative field, and from this, it goes without saying that coming up with ideas and concepts in a very fluid way is the bedrock of any synthesis in any design process. No one person can design and execute a product. Design is always a collaborative effort requiring the skill sets and inputs of many appropriate disciplines of science, technology, humanities, arts, and management. The phrase form ever follows function was coined by architect Louis H. Sullivan in his 1896 essay, The Tall Office Building Artistically Considered. The statement refers to the idea that a skyscraper's exterior design should reflect the different interior functions. Ever since, this concept has been extended to artifacts and objects and was the underlying principle in the ethos of the Bauhaus. This approach is very natural and can be seen in the variety of things found in nature and natural systems. Here, each species evolves a form which is well adapted to its environment. The concept of form follows function can be seen in man made products also. These products are purely functional, have no ornamentation, yet they seem to be pleasing to our senses. These are some highly functional products which are very pleasing to the eye. Some more examples: form follows function, Ford's Model T and Formula One 2021 concept, the Supermarine Spitfire and DC-3 or Douglas C-47 Dakota. They're highly efficient, super functional, and beautiful. The iconic artifact, the Lota. This object is super functional and very adaptable, has evolved over centuries. It has lent itself to a variety of cultural, personal, and civilizational adaptations. Of all the objects we have seen and admired during a visit to India, the Lota, that simple vessel of everyday use, stands out as perhaps the greatest, the most beautiful. The village women have a process which, with the use of tamarind and ash, each day turns this brass into gold. But how would one go about designing a lota? First, one would have to shut out all preconceived ideas on the subject and then begin to consider factor after factor. The optimum amount of liquid to be fetched, carried, poured, and stored in a prescribed set of circumstances, the size and strength of the gender of the hands, if hands, that would manipulate it, the way it is to be transported, head, hip, hand, basket, or cart. the balance, the center of gravity when empty, when full, its balance when rotated for pouring, the fluid dynamics of the problem, not only when pouring but when filling and cleaning, and under the complicated motions of head carrying, slow and fast. Its sculpture as it fits the palm of the hand and the curve of the hip. Its sculpture as complement to the rhythmic motion of walking or a static pose at the well. The relation of opening to volume in terms of storage uses and objects other than liquid. The size of the opening and inner contour in terms of cleaning. The texture inside and out in terms of cleaning and feeling. Heat transfer. Can it be grasped if the liquid is hot? How pleasant does it feel? Eyes closed, eyes open. How pleasant does it sound when it strikes another vessel? Is set down on ground or stone, empty or full, or being poured into? What is the possible material? What is its cost in terms of working? What is its cost in terms of ultimate service? What kind of investment does the material provide as product, as salvage? How will the material affect the contents, etc., etc.? How will it look as the sun reflects off its surface? How does it feel to possess it, to sell it, to give? Of course, no one man could have possibly designed the lota. The number of combination of factors to be considered gets to be astronomical. No one man designed the lota, but many men over many generations, many individuals represented in their own way through something they may have added or may have removed, or through some quality of which they were particularly aware. This was a quote from the India report by Charles and Ray Eames. A similar iconic product, the humble katori, which is found across almost all households in India. It is extremely multifunctional and adaptable like the lota. Some examples of antithesis of form follows function. What you see on the right is Motison's Tower in Jaipur and a highly personalized truck with a high quotient of emotional content. What you see on the left is the headquarters of the National Fisheries Development Board, Hyderabad, and an auto rickshaw high in emotional content, albeit personalized. Some more examples of mass personalization. With ever increasing awareness and aspirations, the users or consumers are seeking an emotional content in the product they use and consume. This goes beyond the concept of forms following the dictates of functionality and technology. It may be true to say that in today's time it's a case of form follows emotions or and as a shift of paradigm for designers to function follows design. The Alamillo Bridge in Seville by Santiago Calatrava and the Turning Torso Building in Malmo in Sweden, also by Calatrava. On the left is the Bel Air Chair by Peter Shah for Memphis, the Tahiti Lamp by Ettore Sotsas for Memphis again, and an example of known as the futuristic furniture designer unknown. A brown kitchen blender by Gerd Alfred Mueller. And finally, this is an image from the desktop of an old version of Microsoft Windows. The forms are soft and gentle, undulating hills, harmoniously blending with each other. The colors are juxtaposed on the color wheel, reinforcing the harmony and concordance of with color. The midground blends effortlessly into the background and foreground, creating a soothing image of rest, peace, and tranquility. The form here is extremely bold and aggressive, verging almost on violence. The form of the swastika is bold, in your face, and it almost sets one's heart racing. Its lines are diagonal, signifying movement of potential action, or dare we say, impending doom. Further, the interplay of red, white, and black are belligerent to the extreme and almost seem to goad the viewer into action. In conclusion, we can say that design has traversed from the approach of being a technology centered design to a very user centric or centered with emotional aspects, matching those of the aspirations of the users in the technology and innovation inputs in the products they buy. Learning to manipulate form for any designer about the visual language is an essential design skill. This studio seeks to sensitize design learners towards perception, appreciation, and manipulation of form and articulation of form ideas. It also seeks to provide learners with some fundamental tools to creatively influence a given form or forms or a shape to a desired objective. It becomes imperative for a learner towards expression of visualization of an idea. This studio offers the opportunity for students learning to manipulate form. The following are some examples of the works done in this studio by students in the previous semester at SEPT.